That Don't Sound Right is a podcast about talking the way we did before the internet, when you could not prove anyone right or wrong.
All the expertise was contained in the people involved with the conversation. I'm Peter.
I'm Cecil, and I hope you enjoy our conversations. And as you listen, if you find yourself silently saying, that don't sound right, send us a comment. You're one of us.
Support squad.
So that's item one.
You're the bucket guy.
You're the bucket guy. Or the
Absolutely.
wheelbarrow guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm doing there.
Right.
Welcome back to another episode of That Don't Sound Right, a podcast about talking. We're your co-hosts, Peter Billman.
I'm Cecil Davis.
We're trying to have a conversation without Googling or fact-checking. Those things can so easily kill the conversation.
And last week, conversation was not killed. It was actually ongoing. So we're continuing it this week. And so it's funny how podcast time works. But Michael Dean's back in the studio.
Michael Dean, welcome to the show again.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So were you stopped on the street this week, or were you recognized for your fame on the podcast?
No. I expect to be, but not yet. It hasn't happened yet.
Maybe I was actually expecting you to get some inquiries about coaching to be on a jury, but that didn't happen yet.
It didn't happen yet.
Okay, well, we'll see. Yeah, well, I still have high hopes for that as a potential side hustle.
You want to talk about our episode on squad goals, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Was that what?
Support squad?
Support squad.
Yeah.
That was a recent episode.
Yeah.
So this was at a junkyard, which I can talk about. We actually had to stop me from I actually cut out some of the junkyard talk.
Yeah.
There's more to be said about
I'm
junkyards.
sure
But you have a comment that
Just a quick.
We're trying to keep our demographic open a little more, but when you talk about junkyards, we're going to limit it. But go ahead, man.
Yeah, maybe comment and maybe one quick story here about junkyards. But so I am not at all handy. I don't do things on cars. I don't tinker. But one of my brothers is very handy and actually just fantastic at cars. He restores cars fully.
No kidding.
Yeah. When he was 16, he bought a Volkswagen Beetle, a 72, I think, and fully restored it.
is he local?
He's in Asheboro now, that area.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We might need to talk after the show.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you could help me out. But he now has another full. He sold that one, but he bought as an adult a full and fully restored 67. He's going to be upset that I don't actually know the actual years of these things, but it's mint. It's absolutely mint, and he's really, really good at restoring.
What's more important to us is does he have a garage?
He does.
Now,
Can he will?
I would assume he can. Yeah. So he went to school for this. He went to Universal Technical Institute.
Oh, no kidding.
There's one in Charlotte, which is NASCAR focused.
Yeah.
He went to the one in Houston that's more general automotive.
Right.
And so he worked in a body shop for a period of time before realizing that he didn't actually like doing it for a job.
Right.
He just liked doing it when it was his. So
Does he listen to the podcast?
no, I don't know if he's much of a podcast person. I can try. I'll try.
Well, he needs to listen to your episodes at least.
Yeah, at least in my episode.
See, the thing about our podcast is it's fun to have it on in the background. Like if you need some noise, so you feel like you have company.
Yeah, for sure. This
is we talk about almost nothing.
Well, that's when I listen to you guys.
Exactly.
And I'll tell you more about that in a second. But with regards to the junkyards, so I would have never ever gone to a junkyard by myself, like on my own prerogative.
Wow.
I'm not handy. I don't do my own repairs.
Okay.
I don't do that.
Right.
So, but with my brother, who is often looking and scouring the area for parts, I've gone with him to junkyard.
Support squad.
So that's item one.
You're the bucket guy.
You're the bucket guy. Or the wheelbarrow guy.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have no idea what I'm doing there. I just
carry the tools. Following him. We're going to road 21.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now I will, and so this is one reason why someone might be supporting somebody else.
Oh yeah.
Is which we kind of touched on, but like he will do repairs for me because he's kind to do that. But if we don't have the part, I have to at least tag along and help him find the part.
Fully parked.
Yeah, exactly.
That's perfect. So you're going to get your own part that your brother's going to install for
That
you.
he'll help me.
He's going to, that's a great example.
Yes.
Junkyards are great.
Yeah. But so one step further is he has a car. It's a truck that he really, really likes. It's oh gosh, 80 something Mazda B2000.
Oh, this is
the small.
Yeah, this is going. This is the old it's kind of like a Chevy Love. It's going back in that.
Yeah, but he has that fully restored.
Does he really?
Yes, very nice shape. And he was looking for a air conditioning vent that wasn't like partially cracked or something. Like he was a very particular part that he wanted. And he couldn't find it anywhere. And when he can't find something, it means it doesn't exist.
Yeah, right.
He is the kind of guy that...
They're all broken.
Yeah, either they're all broken. He scoured the whole U.S. Right. And so around this time, we had planned just brothers' trip randomly to Puerto Rico. Okay. And so he, in his own way, kind of got thinking about this and said those trucks were really popular outside of the U.S. as well.
Yep.
Right.
And so he started researching and looking, and he said they were everywhere in Puerto Rico, apparently. And he said they've got to be at some junkyards down there. And so we were in Puerto Rico, took a day of our vacation, and drove around to different junkyards.
Oh, my head.
Neither one of us spoke Spanish.
Right.
And finding someone to speak English at a junkyard it was an experience.
I would say that is somewhat of a risky proposition to go to a Puerto Rican junkyard. Because junkyards, aren't in the best parts of town.
True.
And you don't exactly fit into a Puerto Rican anywhere.
That's correct. That's correct. Now, I will say, we never felt unsafe.
Okay.
Very awkward.
Sure.
And there was a number that we showed up and they didn't understand us and they didn't have anyone that spoke English. So we just said, bye. Okay. And this isn't going to work.
Sure.
So did you find one? Did you find a vent?
No.
No. What a fantastic ending to the story to find it.
Yeah.
So this is where the 3D printer comes in handy. Right? This is where a 3D printer comes in handy. Because if you have a broken one, you can at least tape it together in some way. You can scan it and then you can reproduce it. What a great application. Another reason, Cecil, the podcast needs to get a 3D
printer.
With the proceeds from the Corvette.
That's right.
So.
I may have told you all this, but one time they came out with a 3D printer that's a resin printer. I mean, it come out with it. It exists. Do you know what I'm talking about? So it's resin, and the way the electricity flows through the resin, it hardens the resin and produces 3D pieces.
Yeah,
so it's a resin printer.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a
How's that different than a typical?
Well, a 3D printer usually lays down material like ink. Yeah, but it just builds up the layers.
Yeah.
So this actually it's like soup. It's like a heavy resin. And the way they send electrical charges through the resin, it hardens different pieces of it and it creates the shape. Like, to me, looks
almost like magic. Reverse sculpting.
Like reverse sculpting. Yes.
That's interesting. Rather than chiseling out, starting with the hard and chiseling out. It starts with soft.
Yeah.
Hard.
It makes hard. That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's called a resin printer. And so I was like, that's really cool. And so I called a friend of mine. I was like, we need to get one of these. And for some reason, he completely derailed me because he said, well, what would you do with it? And I was like, and I could not think of a single thing to do. Now I could create vents for old Datsuns.
Or if you can make it a business and just have people contact you with whatever they need, and you are the virtual junkyard.
Yeah. Virtual junkyard.
Anything people can't find, go and help them with their...
You just created a business right here on the podcast, the virtual junkyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
we just have a big 3D printer.
I believe people do this already. In fact,
but then we
actually make things.
They actually make. Because you would send them your broken part. They would scan it and they can recreate it for you.
Or we're not branded the virtual junkyard like ours.
Probably not. Probably not, Cecil.
Just created a brand. So the thing we didn't get to last time is your side hustle.
Yes.
So tell us.
Which we're all fans of side hustle.
Oh,
especially the ones that make money.
Yeah.
You can teach us how to make money from our side hustle.
I'm not there yet, but no. So as I think I mentioned in the last episode, this is something I just love sweets. I love ice cream. I've always have. And so I just started making ice cream in my house. And then as I started thinking about some career changes, and I started thinking about, is this something I want to take a little more seriously, start considering? And I really, at the time, this is probably pre-COVID, maybe just into COVID, I didn't really feel like Winston-Salem had a good scoop shop, like a classic scoop shop. And so I started saying, I think there's an opportunity to take this to the next level. And very wisely and correctly, my wife said, no, now's not the time. We have a young family, and this is not the right time to be doing that. And so, but what we did agree on was that I could still continue to do it where it made sense, where I had the time. If I could figure out a way to keep doing it that didn't affect the rest of our life, basically, it was okay. Right. And so I started, actually, you guys may be familiar with Black Mountain Chocolate.
Yeah.
I connected with them, and they were selling ice cream and making their own ice cream. And so I asked them if they needed any help. And I said, do you need any help making your ice cream? They said, absolutely. We're slammed. We'd love some help. And so a lot of credit to them for just saying yes and taking me in and teaching me how to use their equipment. And
so when would you do this? Because you had a day job, right?
Right. So I would go once a week. I would clock in. I'd spend about 3 or 4 hours there after work, or maybe even sometimes I'd go in late after bedtime, and I would just work, the late shift, and do it once a week. And that was doable. That didn't disrupt the family too much. Right. But I was just clocking in and out and making their ice cream, whatever they needed for that week to keep them stocked.
Did they train you on the process?
I used their recipes, I used their machine, their equipment. And so it was very straightforward, but it got me hands-on doing it at scale, outside of my own kitchen.
At scale, what is that? What volume?
Making 5-liter pans.
Okay.
So like this, and you usually make 3 of those in a batch.
No kidding. Okay.
And so, any given week I might make 8 to 15 pans in a few hours, and then that's what they needed for the week, and then come back the next week and make what they needed. Yeah.
Wow. So you were making their ice cream?
I was making all their ice cream for about 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah. And then
everybody loved that.
Yeah, it was great. It was really good. It took something off their hands that they didn't have. They were doing pastries, they were doing their chocolate, they were doing all that. Right. And then they shut down.
Yeah, that was
fortunate. That was over a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
But when they did, I said, well, what are we doing with all this ice cream?
We got some ice. So this is commercial ice cream making equipment.
Big, yeah.
So how does this differ than like the consumer? So I've made my own ice cream with the, you put this, you got a big tub with ice and dock stand. No, actually it had electric
but
motor, and it would only make,
but no condenser.
Right.
Ice.
Just ice. It probably only make half a gallon at a time.
Yeah.
So what's a commercial system?
They actually have commercial all sizes. Like some restaurants will make their own batches by hand. Their pastry chef will make small batches, and they really aren't that much different than what you're talking about. Just more industrial and high end, and need to make a lot, like a lot of batches.
Right.
But what I'm dealing with is about as big as a ice cream as you're going to get without getting like full scale production. Any place that makes their ice cream in house, like an ice cream scoop shop, has one of probably these types of machines that I have, which is about the.
So you own this machine now?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what don't sound right. So we know a guy who bought an ice cream machine.
That's true.
To make his own ice cream at volume.
Yeah.
So how big
that don't sound right.
What was that?
Tell us how big it is.
So it's about the size of a small fridge.
Okay.
So.
And how loud is this?
It gets
So for those who are new to listening, we at the Camel City studio, we're actually adjacent to Cecil's refrigerator, which is loud.
Super loud.
But now that the AI filter is kind of filtered out a lot. Right. But anyway, go ahead. How big is
it's loud, but it's not too bad.
Right. We don't care how that. We really AI is going to filter out. We don't care anymore.
So, but then the next step was where I put it.
Yeah.
How do I do this?
That's right. Where did you put it?
So,
where did you plug it in?
Well, that's another story. So, it's not to most places in most towns of any significant size will have some sort of community of kind of startup, entrepreneurial, food-based people business.
It's kind of like
it's a shared kitchen.
Yeah, shared kitchen.
Commissary kitchen.
Right.
Yeah. And so a lot of food trucks use this kind of thing model where you have a kitchen that's licensed by Department of Health, Department of Ag, and they come in, they make their food, they do all the prep, and then they just put it on the truck.
So it's like a maker space in the food industry.
That's right.
Or a collaboration space.
That's right.
We have that in Winston?
Yeah. We actually have, there's
Who would have thought?
So there's the one that I found is a big shout out to them. Their name is Beta Verde, and they've been doing this for a while. It's commercial kitchen that a lot of people just kind of schedule their time and use it. Some names you'll recognize. I believe that Say So Coffee started out of there. Louie and Honey, I believe, started out of there.
Okay. Yeah.
I hope I'm not wrong on that. Yeah. But anyways, so yeah, like you get. It seems like a place where people get started before to kind of prove a concept, right? Before they go full scale into something. So
they let you keep your ice cream in there.
Yeah. Right. And so
you had to move this ice cream. You had to move this ice cream machine, which probably weighs a ton.
Almost, like literally almost. It is closer to 1,000 pounds than 500 pounds. Whoa. It is extremely heavy. We had 5 full-size young men, and it almost wasn't enough.
Almost broke you.
Yeah. But the hardest part was that the kitchen is actually downstairs. It's in a basement. A whole flight of stairs.
You do not want to take this thing upstairs.
And I don't know how it's ever going to come out. It may never come out of that place.
You took it downstairs?
You took it downstairs.
We had a dolly, like a furniture dolly, and we had it strapped to it, and 5 guys. Every step felt like either the dolly or the stairs were going to break.
I'm surprised the stairs supported it.
It would looking back, we should have done more due diligence on the stairs, but it did, and they're pretty well built. So.
Was there anybody down the stairs in front of the machine? Or was everybody
one person? No, maybe 2. I think it was.
But that person was instructed to run away.
Yes. If anything happened, just drop it. Just let it go.
Was it narrow?
No, it was pretty wide.
Okay.
Yeah, that was good.
So you got it down there. Yeah. So they have all the electricity you need?
Well, they have plenty of electricity. What I didn't realize is that there's something called 3-phase.
Yeah.
And that's what I needed.
Oh,
really?
Yes.
To run an ice cream machine.
This thing's massive.
It brings some.
Anything that weighs 1,000 pounds needs many phases.
I thought you were going to say like 220. You had to have 3-phase power.
That's what I thought it was. It looks like a dryer plug, but it's 3-phase.
3-phase is heavy duty.
And so I then, after kicking out some money to buy this machine, had to then go back to my wife and say, I actually messed up. I need a phase converter, which in itself is not cheap, and to have it installed. And so all that was just about as much as a machine, the ice cream machine itself. But
not kidding.
Oh yeah, it's.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, it's particularly when we talk about the installation.
Yeah.
So it was a lot. So I have not yet made money. If you look at it from that perspective.
Right. So you're still paying off.
Still paying off the original investment.
Yeah, yeah.
So who do you make ice cream for now?
So I sell wholesale to Washington Perk.
What's your brand name?
The name is Happy's Ice Cream.
Happy's. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're happy, right?
Yes, I'm happy. So the story behind that is my father, he gave me the nickname Happy as a very young child.
How did you get on a jury?
See, you're still
got to be able to not.
Wow.
How did Happy get on a jury and I don't get
I didn't tell him my name. They didn't ask for nicknames.
Okay. So Happy's ice cream.
Happy's Ice Cream.
No kidding.
I've had your ice cream.
Have you really?
Perk? No.
I had it. Yeah. I've had your ice cream, and it is very, very good.
Thank you.
What time does Washington Perk?
Did you not have any at were you at the men's retreat?
9 or 10, something like that, I think.
I was not there, no.
That's right, you weren't. Yeah, he had his ice cream. It is premium.
Yeah.
What time does Washington Perk close?
I have no idea.
We need to go right now.
We're doing a podcast right now.
After we hang up.
It's worth driving over there tonight.
All right.
I almost brought some tonight, but I didn't know how.
Well, you brought bourbon.
I know. I was choosing between the two.
Oh, no, we're good with ice cream too.
We're good with ice cream or bourbon.
Okay.
Yeah. Just for the record.
Yeah, either one.
Or baked goods, really. Actually.
Or coffee or drinks.
Yeah, really. Just carbonated water makes us happy too, but you really stepped it up.
Are they like a scoop shop or?
So yeah, they have what they call a dipping cabinet that holds a lot of pans. It's like a 20-some pan dipping cabinet that was previously being unused when I walked in there a year and a half ago. And I said, do you need an ice cream vendor? And they said, yes, we haven't had one in like a year or so.
Really?
I think during COVID, they had some issues and stuff. And so
I'm just blown away that these things that you walk in, it's like, do you need someone to make your ice cream?
Yeah.
Yes, we need some.
Yeah.
Do you need someone to buy your ice cream? Yeah, I need someone to buy some ice cream.
Sometimes it's easy. Sometimes
we need him to go around asking, do you need a podcast?
That's what we need you to do. You might get company up.
Well, so at the time, I was actually still with Black Mountain Chocolate making their ice cream, and my plan was just to start wholesaling out Black Mountain Chocolate's ice cream, and I would become a little more of like just the Black Mountain Chocolate ice cream manager.
Okay.
Right.
And so, but that quickly shut down. And so then I was like, well, if you still want ice cream, I can still do it. It's just going to be me personally doing it.
Right.
Now, if I remember right, you actually took a class or got some training.
I did.
And tell us about that, because this is, for those who are listening and have been around Winston-Salem for a while, there's some history here.
Yes, there is. So the way it first started was if I was reading the biography of Ben and Jerry, right, from Ben and Jerry's. And so they talk highly about the school that they went to up at Penn State. And the most well-known is this school in Penn State.
An ice cream?
An ice cream. Yeah, it's actually a course from Penn State, but it's morphed into this thing where it's like, it's the place for ice cream professionals to go to get their professional training.
And one of our listeners is a Penn State University grad, so he's going to be pretty pleased to hear about this. Yeah,
that's cool. So I almost convinced my wife to let me do that.
Yeah.
But that was pretty expensive, and it was like a 2-week thing, I think. Mm-hmm. And so, but what I found when looking into it was that there is that Carpigiani, the Italian gelato company that is pretty well known worldwide, has a school in, I guess it's High Point. High Point. It's kind of in the middle of all three. I was trying to figure out where, but it's like High Point. It's out towards like the Greensboro Farmers Market, that exit. Mm-hmm. And because they have a big plant there. They have a big plant for all the machines. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, they build the machines there?
They assemble the machines. I think they still build them in Italy, but I think that's where they're it's like their it's like their East Coast headquarters.
Yeah.
Sounds like an episode, man.
Sounds like maybe we need to go make a visit.
Yeah. Well, so I connected with those folks and said, hey, and they do class every so often.
Okay. Mm.
And it's only a week and it's a little more reasonably priced. Mm. And come to find out, like a lot of scoop shops in this area have gone to that because it's the most accessible.
Very.
But it's great class. It's a week long, and you go and you use their machines. They have a whole test kitchen basically, and it's all hands on. And you're making ice cream basically half the time you're there, and the other half you're learning about ice cream. Yeah. But it was taught by a lady who ran an ice cream shop in Winston-Salem for 30 years called Blue Ridge Ice Cream.
You remember them?
Yeah. They used to go to concerts outside of there. Blue Ridge Ice Cream would be there, and Martha and the Mood Swingers would usually be the band. And so you'd go and they'd have the Blue Ridge Ice Cream, and we'd listen to Martha and the Mood Swingers.
Yeah, they used to have that shop over where the ski and tennis stadium is, right over there.
That's where the concerts were. And then that little courtyard.
Yeah, nice little courtyard, and now I guess they were.
So I never experienced that actual shop. It was before I got to Winston, but around that time, I think it was like 2013, they sold to Dewey's.
Right, Dewey's
and
Bakery.
That's why Dewey's has ice cream. My understanding is that they didn't have ice cream.
No, they never did.
They just
got it. Yeah, and they bought Blue Ridge.
Yeah, they bought it, and then of course they added their own flavors, the Dewey's specific flavors. But So, but she was the one that taught
the class.
So that's super relevant. And and like I just picked her brain all week long.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, that's full circle.
It is,
that's
isn't
awesome.
it?
Yeah. Well, it don't sound right, but we've actually come to the end of this episode of that. Don't sound.
Well, let's do a speed round.
That was a great story, though.
Thank you.
Yeah. That was what I was hoping for. Was right there was that story. Yes. So you ready for the speed round?
Yes.
Okay. So speed round for us, you may have heard it, but we'll start you out. So the first question is, if you could be a pharmacist or an engineer, what would you be?
Engineer.
Oh, sorry, Cecil.
No, there's been no one's voted for pharmacist.
I really wanted to break the chain.
Yeah, that's right.
I had to be honest.
We're going to find somebody. Yeah.
Well, yeah, good luck. We'll do a whole episode just on that. Do you listen to That Don't Sound Right?
Yeah.
You are listening.
All episodes.
All episodes. He's an all episode listener. There's, I really only know like 3 people that have done that.
I was going to tell you.
4 people.
Where I listen most now after my initial car ride is while I'm making ice cream.
No kidding.
Where's the inspiration for
not
ice
really
cream?
while I'm making ice cream, while I'm doing the dishes. Because what you may not know, and most people don't imagine when they're imagining making ice cream, is all the dishes that have to be done.
Right.
And
really?
Basically 50% of my time every night is cleaning at the beginning and cleaning at the end.
No kidding.
Yeah. Because, you got to break the machine down, sanitize it.
Right.
Put it back together, make your ice cream, and then kind of do it all over again before you leave it. Clean it all up.
Wow. Yeah, it's you need to have like a sous chef.
Yeah. If I had any extra resources to... They don't make AI that can do that yet.
Yeah. All right.
You might as a podcast host that
That's right.
volunteer. We'll exchange some services here. Because when we're making a lot of money from the podcast, we're going to need an account.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
I do want to point out that I think you've come to the podcast in the way many people did, and that was out of desperation. So you're on a road trip, you ran out of everything else to listen to, and said, well, you know. All right, third question is, do you think TDSR is cool? He's hesitating.
Not cool. Entertaining.
Okay, there you go. Right. I will take that. That's probably the most true answer we've had.
That's right.
If you had to listen, okay, we can go. We'll give you all three of these. If you had to listen to one band forever, can you do that? Our daughters could not answer this question.
It's hard. It is admittedly hard.
Blew the matrix for them.
The Beatles.
Really?
There you go. Okay. Yeah, I can go with that. Yeah.
Different generations of music there.
Yeah. Different styles and kind of, and a pretty big body of work.
Absolutely. You got a lot.
If you could live anywhere for 1 year, where would it be?
Definitely Europe somewhere. Probably Italy.
All right. So this is the one that matters most to me and Peter is say, what's your number one dream car? What's the number one car in your dream garage?
So we talked about I'm not a huge car guy, but I thought actually long and hard about this because I knew the speed round was going to come. And so Corvette.
Oh, Corvette.
We've got one for you.
Yeah.
Let me say, then we might have one.
Can I tell you why it's a Corvette?
Yeah. And what is there a particular year?
No. So that's the thing is the reason I chose Corvette is because I don't think I have ever looked at a Corvette of any generation and not thought that's a good looking car.
Yeah.
They just look so cool. In real life, if you said you can have any car, I would definitely take the most expensive car, sell it, and take the cash.
Right.
But if it was a car that I was actually going to have to drive and keep the car, and I actually might consider buying myself, it would be a Corvette. Yeah. Because they're just so cool looking. Yeah. Every generation is the coolest car, like the coolest stock car, I think, that's out there.
Well, and again, I'm not a huge Corvette guy, but a Corvette to me is a quintessential looking sports car. Absolutely. It looks like a sports car. Yeah. Like a sports car. If you were like a 5-year-old kid drawing a sports car, for the first time, you draw a Corvette every single time.
Yeah.
Hey, I had actually, to add fuel to the fire about this whole Corvette thing, I saw a posting this week of so this is the one we're working on, is a 1980. This was a 1979 Corvette, very, very similar. And it was painted black cherry.
Yeah, you sent that to me.
I sent that to you.
If this car had that paint job,
that paint job.
Just the shade of that color.
Yeah, and so this has what, 20-inch wheels on it? It has 255 60s. So what's that?
These are 15-inch wheels.
No. How wide were they? 10 inches?
They're only 10 inches wide.
Okay, so that one I sent to you had even wider wheels on it. So this is a 255 60. This was a 255 70.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it was really a beautiful car.
Yeah.
That's it. That was the whole speed round. We managed to make the speed round really slow, but
before we close, we want to thank everyone for listening. If this is your first time and enjoyed the conversation, would you consider hitting the subscribe button on the platform you listen with? Also, if you're a longtime listener, please give us a rating and leave us a review so others can easily find us and join the conversation.
All right, That Don't Sound Right is a production of TSR Podcast. Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
In conjunction with Camel City Studios, I'm your co-host and sound engineer, Cecil. Peter is your other host and web designer. Camille is your barista. Emily is your graphic designer. Ella does your Instagram.
Hey, maybe Michael Neve will be our official ice cream supplier of the podcast.
That's right. Giorgio tests our merchandise. Britt is our international brand ambassador. And as always, listener number one is Scott. So until next week, keep talking.
And stay curious.